Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, it will be a Adobe Lightroom tutorial. If you have pictures in which you have a person inside a room and you have a window and you have some landscape you want to show off, I'm going to be teaching you on how to balance out the subject matter inside the room as well as the landscape outside. Even before we hit Lightroom, just one quick tip: when you shoot on your camera, and I'm assuming it's a DSLR, you should always shoot your photos underexposed. The reason why you want to shoot it underexposed is because when you bring those photos into Lightroom and Photoshop, if you shoot it as your eye sees it in really nice, airy, bright settings, you might have actually overexposed the photo, and there's not enough data in the photo, in the file, to be able to bring those lights back up. So if you start balancing out the lights and you see the parts that are the brightest parts get even whiter and you want to bring back some of the shadows, you can't do that anymore. So always shoot photos underexposed. I know in those photos the subject matter will look dark and gloomy and gray, but I promise you after we are done, the photo's gonna look amazing. So let's get started and open up Adobe Lightroom. All right guys, so here's the photo I'm gonna be editing today. I actually posted this on Instagram last week. It is a picture of me sitting in a restaurant. We're having afternoon tea. There's only one major light source, which is the window in front of me. Unfortunately, that day it was kind of gloomy and cloudy. So there is actually a window on my side, but because the sunlight is not strong enough, it's not showing through. We shot this at ISO 250, so it's very low, so that when I bring out the lights after, it's not gonna look very grainy. Okay, I've already straightened this photo because we're not talking about straightening crop today. So first things first is that you want to bring all the lights back up. So I'm just going to boost it back up. Lower the highlights a lot because right now the highlights in the window is really bugging me. It's really dark inside. We're going to just boost the shadows up. Lower the whites and boost the blacks up. This is by no means going to work in every single photo that you take with interior lighting, but this is generally how I start working, and of course in every situation it's going to be different, so you're going to be editing every photo differently. I'm going to boost the saturation up a little and the vibrance just to make the photo pop a little more. Here in your regions with the highlights and lights, I like to do the same thing as I did above, which is push the highlights down. So all you're trying to do right now is you're just trying to balance out all the lights inside so that it's more of an even tone as opposed to too much high contrast, so that you can see what's going on in the picture better. So what I really love to use is split toning. I feel like split toning really helps to push the colors in your photo. For me, oops, someone's calling me. Why? All right, where was I? Sorry, that was the courier. Broke my chain of thought. Okay, so we're gonna go back into the split toning. I'm going to play around with these colors here. See, here we have a large bay window. In the back is a sea view. You see the awning on the outside, and right now where the horizon is, it's like completely gone. So what I like to do is I like to use this called the gradient leveler. I think it's called the gradient, what is this called? The graduated filter. And I like to pull it right in the middle where I want to change the lights. So as you see, when I press O, it's highlighted in red to show you what's being affected. I'm just going to lower all the highlights right there. So as you can see, it's already coming back into the photo. I'm going to also pull one down here to balance out where the table is, because right now the table is looking a little dull and I want to make all the food on my table really pop. I'm going to use a little dehaze, a little saturation, because the story of this photo is I'm just having a good time, having afternoon tea, and everything looks effortless when in reality, it is not. We want this photo to feel airy, like I'm on holiday, bright, even though it was typhoon weather that whole week, but no one's gotta know. I'm also just gonna play around with the warmth of the photo and the tint. Okay, so generally this is where I like it going. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna use the brush tool. You can see on the top right corner. Here I'm just gonna make it visible. I'm gonna paint out all the areas in which I feel like are too bright. I generally like to do a really quick edit, and then I like to go in later and brush everything back out so it's nice and clean so you don't see any weird edges. So right now, this is what it looks like. So we're playing with this area. I'm gonna lower the exposure. Okay, when you lower the exposure, everything tends to look gray. So you do want to bring in the colors a bit more, which is why I end up playing a lot with the temperature and the tint of the photo, because you want the photo to look like what you saw when you were actually present. So no one sees a window that's kind of grayish with a lot of clarity and dehaze. You actually see a lot of color and a lot of softness. As much as you want to bring the clarity in the photo, you also want to bring a certain type of lightness and softness that's more visible to the eye than in photos. So here, I'm gonna also bring clarity a tiny bit up. You don't want to overkill it because you don't want it. I've seen a lot of photos on Instagram where people just go crazy on the dehaze tool. It's not pretty. And then you can also bring the saturation back up. I'm gonna bring the shadows a bit up, even though I really just want to avoid that gray haze at the back. As you can see, all the data is back in the photo. And if you want to be even more nitpicky, which is what I did in my final edit, is I added an extra tool on the awning, just the awning. For brevity's sake, I'm just going to paint over the entire window. And I basically tried to make the awning pop, because for me, I'm doing this green theme and I really want to make sure that the awning was one thing that you first looked at when you saw this photo. I'm also going to boost the saturation up here and then also tint it so it's a little more green. Now that all the lights in my photo are pretty much balanced, I'm trying to now tie all those colors and lights together in the final photo. So I'm going to boost it up even more. Because I shot on low ISO, I have enough data to bring it all back when I boost the whites up. I'm going to show you before and after. I hope this tutorial helped reveal to you how we edit a lot of our photos that might be taken in restaurants and in hotels, and how to balance out the light situation if you're inside but you still want to show the landscape outside. If Adobe Lightroom is a bit too complicated for you, don't worry, because right now, if you have an iPhone or any top of the line smartphones, the cameras on these smartphones do an amazing job at already helping you create a photo that is evenly balanced and toned. I find that sometimes when you take the exact same photo on your phone, because it uses computational technology, it helps you to already kind of edit the photo. However, the reason why I don't always recommend taking a photo just on the smartphone, especially as a professional photographer and content creator where we sell the images, is because the photo is tweaked by Apple. When you put it into Photoshop or Lightroom, a lot of times the data and the highlights are lost and you actually don't have as much control in editing the photo as you would if you shot it on DSLR. But I would highly recommend shooting on both just to play around with the two. For sure, if you shoot it on a smartphone, it takes a lot less work to edit, I guess, because it's already as close to probably what you want to post on Instagram compared to the DSLR photos. I hope you guys liked this video. You can consider subscribing and liking this video. You can also follow me on Instagram and TikTok. I try to post on both every week, and I will see you in our next one. Bye.